Happy Sunday, June 14th, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to this episode of ScreenPlayers Podcast Retro Replay, which is where we go back in time and we talk about the video games that we played when we were just little tiny innocent kids. This time round, we ended up picking games from the PlayStation 2 era, and what a great console that was. To this time, with 155 million sold units, is the best-selling console of all time. But before I leave you to it, let me remind you that you should subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell down below for the best PlayStation and Xbox news and insights. And you can and should come and chat with us about video games and banana bread every Thursday at 6 p.m. UK time during our live podcast on Twitch. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this episode, but of course, as usual, we are curious. What was your favorite game of the PlayStation 2 era and why? Let us know in the comment section right down below. Today's about retro gaming. I think unwillingly we kind of picked games that are from the PlayStation 2 era. Not that we kind of planned it, but that's kind of how it happened. Danny, what about your game? What was your pick?
My pick, so I was thinking about like what game from PlayStation 2, because for me PlayStation 2 is retro gaming, but it's not so retro.
It is retro.
Okay,
I mean,
so I have to
look,
say,
actually, you know what? Sorry, this is a good question. When does a console become retro?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. That's the point, right? So I think everyone feels when it becomes retro. Okay, and if for Nintendo or PlayStation 1 or I don't know, Sega and all this, it's definitely retro. Okay, PlayStation 2, yeah, it is retro, but
Well, it is retro.
No.
You know, I was reading. And
But there are polygons already. There is 3D. It cannot be full retro,
exactly,
right?
sort of, right.
But you know, though,
some game just like the one that I'm presenting is still like fully playable now with decent graphic and
Yeah. No, 100%. But you know why I'm asking? Because on Twitter, actually, I think today, on Twitter, or maybe yesterday, it was reported when, someone said, can we consider the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 retro? Well, technically, yes, because as far as I know, the online services are shut now. Even the Wii, like the Nintendo Wii, the online services are all shut, so the console is not supported anymore. You cannot buy it anymore from the store. So technically, it's a retro console. But yeah, no. For me, the PS2 is very much retro. To be honest with you, I still consider it. I do consider it retro.
yeah.
But yeah. Go ahead. What's your pick?
Yeah, so honestly, I was wavering initially between Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill 4, and I went for Silent Hill 4 eventually, just because they were both at the same level for me. But I spoke about Resident Evil already, and I wanted to vary a little bit because Resident Evil and Silent Hill for me as a series are at the same level. Okay. So, Silent Hill 4, I have to say that I played this 1 year ago, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. Okay, for the second time. The first time was back, like when I owned the PlayStation 2 and so on. So, I'm a fan of Silent Hill series. For me, it's like the perfect psycho thriller, psycho horror series. I haven't found something that can go better than this, maybe something that can be at the same level. Anyway, so the concept of Silent Hill 4 is super like psychological. The game divides into two gameplays, let's say. One of them is you in your room, and as you could see from the video, you are locked inside.
Oh, wait. Is it the one? Is it Silent Hill The Room? The one they call...
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you played it?
And then you found...
I played the demo of this one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
and then you find, as you can see, you find a hole in your bathroom, okay? Because you cannot
That happens to me
out
every
of the
day.
room.
That happens to me every day, holes in my bathroom.
Yeah, the same to me. Depends on what I eat the day before, actually. And then you can actually enter the bathroom, like enter the hole.
Enter the bathroom, yeah?
Yeah, enter the bath hole, okay?
Yeah.
And
like a mole.
And you navigate into.
It kind of looks
different
gross. It kind of
doors.
looks like he's getting into some, I don't know, butthole.
Yeah, I mean, there surely some Freudian meaning to this game. I'm pretty sure, but I didn't investigate deep. Okay, so anyway, through this hole, you pretty much exit the room. Okay, and you visit places outside of the room in the real world, but it's a little bit, let's say, distorted by the usual Silent Hill feeling. Okay,
That pesky Silent Hill
yeah, exactly.
vibe. Yeah.
So, and then you go ahead, you find, okay, there is the whole story about a serial killer called, what's Walter Sullivan, I think. Yeah, it was Walter Sullivan. And then you understand how this is related to the place where you live. I mean, typical Silent Hill and psycho thriller
You know
stories.
what? Let me ask you a question. Why should someone play this game right now in 2020?
Oh, because, I mean, you can actually see, right? I mean, look at the graphics, for example.
Yeah.
It's definitely playable, right?
Oh, the graphics hold up. No doubt about that. Yeah.
Yeah, the direction is good. I mean, it's pretty well. And, I mean, someone who likes this psychological thriller kind of game must play it. Someone who likes adventure and action only, probably not, right? Of course. I mean, it's a very narrow style, I would say. Okay, it's not that everyone will like it. No, maybe sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's frustrating. Okay, and sometimes it's also slow, maybe.
Yeah.
So, in that sense, maybe not. It's not a game for everyone. Absolutely, like any of the Silent Hills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And but for someone who likes stories and this kind of thrillers, definitely it's a great game, and it didn't age.
I mean, how is this? So you were already saying this a bit, but how is this different? So from the other Silent Hills, is the plot less linear?
I would say there is less symbolism and less, let's say, mystic things.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's more a thriller, like with yes, more of a thriller. Okay.
Mm. But is it
the
still set in the town of Silent Hill? So fog,
No.
zombies.
No, the town is not. No. It's not fog. There is no fog. There is nothing like that. No. Yeah, I
Okay.
remember. I mean, I didn't play the third of Silent Hill. I have to say, okay, and I didn't finish the second. But still, no, it's a different thing. Silent Hill, like I think there was like there is not like a direct connection. Yes, this girl feels bad, and spoiler alert, she doesn't.
Spoiler
And
alert,
well,
she
anyway.
needs Imodium.
Right.
All right.
So that's my game. Yeah,
right.
here-
Now right.
right.
This is what she picked. Or
I mean, typical from Silent Hill is that you hardly use fire weapons, so you don't use guns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to get around with with sticks and rods and this stuff. Also golf clubs.
yeah.
It gives you an idea. So typical thing of Silent Hill, you are no like cop. You are not like
No.
badass, keeper hero. You're just
Yeah.
like a normal person.
Yeah.
Fighting, not normal dog. Well, one thing that you can notice is like typical Silent Hill and also this type of horror games is like the camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you never know what's going on, what's around the corner.
A lot of
Okay.
jump scares moments.
Yeah.
Right. But I like it. I mean,
And it's perfectly fitting now that I'm playing The Last of Us. That game is.
yeah. Last of Us is way more action oriented.
Yeah, no, I meant for the jump scares, you know.
That's the thing about Silent. Again, I cannot really talk too much about this one because I played only a demo of this one. I did play with the first one and the third one, if I remember correctly. And I have never been a big fan, I must say.
Yeah.
But because I was, I think, a bit too young. I think that Silent Hill can appeal you only when you're a somewhat grown-up gamer, I would say. Because I remember that it pissed me off. The fact that in the first one, if I'm not mistaken already, the main character, I don't remember his name, but he's not a cop. He's just a guy who ended up in the wrong city at the wrong time, and he cannot even handle the gun properly. Like I remember the hand is shaking sometimes.
Yeah.
The idea is really you should shoot as least as possible, use your weapons as least as possible. And I was coming from, say, Resident Evil, so a lot of weapons, weaponry.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's not. I mean, I played with Lorenzo Silent Hill number 1, and I enjoyed it, but it's definitely not for people who just like actions and fast things and so on. It's more for people.
What age were you? Because I'm asking Claudio, by the way. What age were you? Because when Daniel and I played Silent Hill 1, which was the first time round when it was just out, right?
Yeah.
We were what? 13, 14, 15? I don't remember.
Gotta be something like maybe. I think that Silent Hill 1 it didn't come out too much after Resident Evil 2, I would say, because I remember. And perhaps even Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Because I remember in my head, those were my yardsticks. Those were the two games I compared it with, and I kept thinking, oh, Resident Evil is so much cool. So it's just cool.
Silent Hill came out, if I remember correctly, Silent Hill came out after Resident Evil 2, but before Resident Evil 3. But that's why, for example, Daniela and I liked it because basically Silent Hill was for the same reason you said, right? So you're not a cop, you're not someone that handles bazookas and guns and it's armed to the teeth. You're basically a common person who doesn't really know how to shoot, so the gun is not really all that effective. Your hand kind of shakes a little bit. So that's
Well, what I mean is I would probably enjoy a game like that more right now or at this age than I could have possibly back in those days. Have you guys tried by any chance the demo that Hideo Kojima made of Silent Hill, and then unfortunately the game never came to life?
The one that was like in a corridor.
Yeah, and it's also not available anymore. It was available at some point on as a demo, but then it got pulled from the store.
Because, for instance, first of all, I thought that was amazing, and there were a couple of pretty jump scare moments. But what I meant is, I probably wouldn't have liked that if I were younger. Well, first of all, because it would have scared the living shit out of me. But also because it's not even a real game. It's more like what I mean is, it's more puzzle, solving puzzle in a horror scenario more than a survival horror, let's say.
In a way, although remember that was, as you said, right, that was just a demo, and it wasn't obviously the finished product, so that might have been, the very beginning. The thing is, it's difficult really to get really scared with Silent Hill Resident Evil 2 at that time, because although it did manage with Daniela and I, but the graphics were what they were, right? So it wasn't really all that realistic. The camera wasn't really over the shoulder. Like if you play Resident Evil 2 remake, so today's version, that really scared the shit out of me. Yeah. You've got camera over the shoulder, fantastic graphics, and now they've introduced. So the corridors in the original Resident Evil 2 were actually well lit. In this one, the corridors are all dark, and you've got like a little torch. So
So Danny, who's the murderer eventually?
I was the murderer. No. I don't do any spoilers. Play it, and we'll speak about it.
Tell us, what is your game, your choice?
My pick for this Throwback Thursday, guys, is Final Fantasy X. As you know, probably I'm a very nostalgic person. But there is always a lot of nostalgia value in every retro gaming I do. And this game for me has a very strong connection with the summer of 2002. I remember perfectly what happened, the circumstances in which I bought this game. I purchased this game the day before the 16th of final of the World Cup 2002, Italy-South Korea. Now, you guys, I know that you guys perfectly remember that game, but for those of you non-Italians, so it was a shameful page of football. Italy didn't manage to qualify. The referee, Byron Moreno, completely robbed us. And we were watching this at Valeria's place, by the way. Greetings to Valeria, in case she was watching us. I was super pissed off, as I think all of you. I was super annoyed. Like, I remember, you're also younger, so this kind of things, Italy not going through the World Cup is really the kind of stuff that may ruin your week, even. But I got home, and I was like, oh, you know what? I'm so relieved because I have this game to play. And I started this game that day, and I immediately forgot. About Byron Moreno and Italy getting disqualified. Going through. But now back to the game, and it really marked my summer. Maybe this sounds a bit loser, but yeah, I was young. But for me, summer 2002 was really the summer of Final Fantasy X. As you may see already from these images, it's set in this world, which is a very beachy word. I said beach, yeah, not beachy, by the way. The main island, where the game takes place, it's called Beside or Beside. All the characters are inspired by Okinawan kind of style. I think I read somewhere that even the face features should, for a Japanese person at least, should remind of more the people from Okinawa, so from the archipelagos of Japan.
Potentially, they look a little tanned, so I'm guessing.
Yeah, they look a bit tanned, and I mean, it's Final Fantasy, so I really put this more or less, I guess, in the same field of where I put Final Fantasy VIII. That kind of long story with villains that may seem villains, but they are not. There are some twists. A very long story, so really you need a lot of time if you want to complete this in detail. What you may have already noticed from the images, it was the first Final Fantasy with a total 3D graphics. This was very common actually in the PS2 era. A lot of games like Resident Evil, like Final Fantasy, used to have 3D characters in 2Ds, so in drone scenarios or landscapes. This is all 3D. So it was different. It was very different for me to play with this. It's much more organic. Perhaps is a tiny bit less beautiful, I must say, than the scenarios of Final Fantasy VIII. I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy VIII, if you remember. So that one for me is, I will never be too objective when I speak about that. Nevertheless, this is also a big role in my nostalgia chart. Because, perhaps the characters are slightly less interesting. That, again, I have this yardstick. I need to compare everything with Final Fantasy VIII. However, some others are equally cool. I think that Waka, the guy you're seeing now, the guy with the kind of mohawk,
he's the Zell of
he's exactly the Zell of and Lulu, the black magician, the black sorceress. Is I would say the Quistis, the equivalent. So the kind of figa di legno. For those of you who don't speak Italian, it means the lady hard to catch. Let's say, this one. This very one. The hard to get lady. Then you have Kimari, which is the big blue lion. It's just such a random character. It's exactly there actually.
He's the Chewbacca of the story.
He's exactly the Chewbacca, of Final Fantasy X. I was in love with the graphic also. I must say, of course, looking at it nowadays, it may seem very old, but I thought that it was amazing that the entire game could run this graphic that you see even in the cutscenes. For the PlayStation 1, it was rare, actually. Normally you had the graphic for the cutscenes, and then you have the actual game.
But because I think I don't know, this is my own explanation for this, right? So in PlayStation 1 era, the graphics was just not holding up. So, I mean...
However... sorry, go on.
I guess in here you already had the potential to actually, shoot render the capture scene with decent enough graphics to appreciate them. Obviously nowadays there's almost no difference.
Right now we are looking at an actual CGI scenery, so
you can tell.
You can tell. And it's funny actually because nowadays if I look at this I see a huge gap again. But back in the days I didn't think that there was such a huge difference. Also, Yuna, main character, I thought she was lovely. She was a very cute girl. This is Eon Valefor. And the Eons were what you would call Guardian Force in Final Fantasy VIII. I kind of liked the fact that they didn't play such a big role. Sometimes you should focus only on the voice and it. The feet, by the way.
The feet.
AMD, maybe.
AMD. There's a hidden message.
I don't know, can you elaborate on this? I know that on this, Daniele probably will disagree with me. Eventually, I didn't like one thing too much of Final Fantasy VIII, and that is that the Guardian Force, or Guardian Forces, GFs, are too relevant, are too powerful. You really need them constantly in the game. Whereas in this game, you can use them, but you don't have to use them. They are
but it depends. Towards the end of Final Fantasy VIII, Guardian Forces are useless as well. I mean, they're used for their abilities to make grow your abilities, but then you don't use them in battle, typically. Anyway, one day I will teach you how to play Final Fantasy VIII, Claudio, and we can speak again. Okay?
Yeah, sure. I think I defeated the Ultima weapon like this.
Yeah, exactly. Of course.
The programmer of Square.
Look, I remember clearly like exploding Ultima's weapons ass. Like
the programmer of Squaresoft. It was not yet Square Enix. It was still called Squaresoft. They called me a Tom.
They congratulate you. Like they sent you a trophy, like a golden.
They sent you the police to arrest you. Because you were too good, right?
Exactly.
They have a particular system that, anyway.
And I'll tell you something else. The mini game, the game within the game in Final Fantasy X, is Blitzball.
Yeah.
Which is a sort of water polo. It's very funny. At least I remember it as quite funny.
Blitzball.
Blitzball. It's I wish it was a real game. Very funny. And Daniele, let me tell you, it poops on the stupid card game in Final Fantasy VIII any of the week.
No. I'm sorry, Claudio, no.
What's the name of the card? I don't even remember the name of the card game, actually, in Final Fantasy VIII. I remember the music perfectly. The music is so catchy, of course.
When was the last time, Daniela, you played Final Fantasy VIII, by the way?
8 was 4 years ago, maybe. Yes.
So fairly recently.
Yeah. I still dream of it in the night, in my nightmares. I don't remember the name.
Constantly, we speak. Can we have as a soundtrack the card theme of Fantasy VIII? I think it's a great theme.
We talked about Final Fantasy VIII and JRPGs. You know what?
What are you bringing, Lorenzo?
I'm bringing the fact that Claudio and I had a little bit of a thing today on WhatsApp, via WhatsApp, where he said he likes JRPGs, but he doesn't like action RPG.
Yep.
I'm like...
I mean, I have to say that, yeah, I like both. Depends. But JRPG are, I mean, these kind of like battles are very strategic, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Way more strategic than the other like action, like the Witcher. The no strategy at all there, like zero.
Remember?
I really liked. So you may notice this. On the right, you have a bar with the order of action. I really like that. I really like that you have to think who is gonna attack first.
I think that's pretty standard on JRPGs. I mean, on Persona 5.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, well, you say The Witcher, but remember that, you know, there are action RPGs that is not just The Witcher, you know. There's not just The Witcher. Plus, I anyway disagree with the statement. But what I don't know. I just found bizarre the fact of saying I like other games which are action based, which you clearly do. But then when it comes to RPG, for some reason you don't like action RPGs. But I'm like,
I do like them.
No. I'm talking about Claudio. So
I like them less. I prefer the Japanese style RPGs. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I prefer the turn-based. But it's the same with strategy games. I like strategy games as Age of Empires, for instance, so in real time. But I also like a lot strategy games, especially old style, which are turn-based strategy
like
games.
Civilization.
Like Civilization, exactly. Yeah. Or, Danny, I could tell you the name of the map game you tried to have me playing with the Phoenicians, the Romans. But yeah, that one didn't quite work.
That's the game of the millennium.
I'm going to tell you about my game, which I think Claudio also likes, and Daniele, because Daniele, we all know that Daniele is a little bit stupid, so he doesn't like cool games. But
the game you're bringing is gonna be bullshit for sure.
So
let's see.
My favorite game is this one.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Huh?
So GTA Vice City. I love this game, and unwillingly, once again, because we didn't plan to have, you know, PlayStation 2 era games, but unwillingly still another PlayStation 2 era game. And I don't know, I just like it. It's just like, it's, well, I think we were talking about it with Claudio right before we went online, live, and it's the Miami factor, right? Miami in the 80s.
Yeah.
The soundtrack's phenomenal. The attire, the characters, and plus, can we all remind everyone that it's quite loosely based on Scarface in the end? So
Yeah.
you also have that angle. So you play as Tommy Vercetti, who's this guy, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it was, I obviously at the time, we have to contextualize, right? So at the time, this was the la creme de la creme, right? This was like fantastic graphics. I couldn't believe my eyes, and I couldn't believe my eyes that you had such a huge open world. Oh my God, that was like the city of Miami.
Okay. Small trivia. If you go back, if you have any chance to go slightly back, in the room of Tommy Vercetti, his poster is a screenshot of GTA 3. We just saw it for a second. Yep. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
We should start doing this, like this Easter egg moment.
Yeah.
But sorry, go on. If you have a clip with and that scene is gonna reappear, I'm gonna point it.
Well, I'm gonna rewind it.
It's okay. No one gives a shit. It's fine. It's fine, guys. Don't worry.
I'm gonna rewind in the end, but yeah. No, I mean I like this, right? So huge open world. I mean I like open world game. I like both games, to be honest with you. Both like closed environment, linear, story driven, such as Naughty Dog games, as well as open world games. I mean sometimes, of course, open world games can be a little dispersive, so you don't know really. Think about Assassin's Creed's Odyssey. You can do a shitload of stuff, and sometimes you kind of like fall out of the main quests, and then just take ages to basically finish the game because you're just wasting time horsing around in all senses. But in this case, obviously, I don't know. I just liked the city. I just liked the vibe, all the lights of the era, of the attire, the fashion. The soundtrack was amazing. We had there was the rock radio with like Motley Crue, Ozzy, all that kind of stuff, and I used to dig that.
Yeah, I'll tell you even the name of that radio.
Yeah.
Plus you had that rock band, that sort of like glam rock band. I don't remember what was the name of that band.
There was a fake rock band in the game.
Yeah. At some point you actually have to do missions for them as well.
Yeah. I'm gonna Google this because I need to remember the name of that radio.
At the time, this was fantastic. The graphics was top notch. The obviously the acting was, for the time, it was crazy. It was really, really good, and the storytelling, like everything was great at the time. Of course, if you play
V-Rock.
V-Rock.
Was it V-Rock? What, the radio?
The name of the radio, right? The rock one.
So, obviously, if you replay this now, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. It didn't age well, right? So the graphics, to be honest with you, it's not really kind on the eye, so to speak. Character models, once again, even Silent Hill 4, so to speak, of course, different ages, still the same console, but Silent Hill 4 was a little later. And Resident Evil 4 even, they look much, much better. Of course, they're not open world, so you could argue that. But, yeah. And, by the way, nowadays, GTA 5, it's one of my favorites still, because GTA 5 kind of, it's not in Miami, but it's in a fictional Los Santos. Obviously, this one was in a fictional Vice City. And, I don't know, I think GTA 5 just captures fantastically, as this one did at the time, the vibe of that slice of America. Let's face it, all GTA games are pretty much a parody of the United States.
Yeah, totally.
So I know that Claudio likes it. I actually have no idea if Daniele likes it.
So I played it. I didn't finish it.
You didn't finish it?
No, I didn't finish it, no. And yeah, dispersive. A lot. I remember it like very dispersive, and with the story being not so original or engaging, I would say. Gameplay also, it was cool. Of course, it was very good. Like, oh wow, I can travel. I can rob a car and drive in the city with the graphic, which is so cool.
Okay, the band were the Love Fest. I finally found it.
Love
okay.
Fest.
The Love Fest.
Really? Huh?
Yeah, the fake, the Spinal Tap kind of glam band.
Yeah. And anyway, so it was cool, but yeah, after a little bit, it was this repetitive story. I didn't like it. What I liked, I remember what I liked was, for example, Mafia.
Right.
Which is again a story of a guy that works for Mafia and starts with little missions and then grows. But that one was like the story and the characters were very much better. Like you could emotionally get attached to the character and to the story. With GTA, of course, it was a different kind of game. It was not open world like GTA. And with GTA, it was just like more,
Don't you get attached from Versetti? It's even Italian. Well, Italo-American.
Yeah. By the way, the Mafia is getting remastered. Mafia 1.
Yeah.
It's getting a gorgeous remaster coming out in August.
Bro,
I
look
wanna
at this
say.
guy. This was the lawyer.
Yeah.
This guy was hilarious.
And obviously this lawyer, if I remember correctly, by sort of mid-game, the end of the game, he becomes like a cocaine addict, crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's the recurring gag at one point.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of references to Scarface, by the way. And also, GTA 6 we don't know when it will come out. If I had to guess, I'd say 3 years' time. But it's rumored to be set in Vice City. I mean, some rumors says Vice City, other rumors say actually multiple areas, potentially with even a little bit of slice of game in South America. Other rumors say Vice City, Los Santos, and was it Las Venturas? Yeah. So we'll see. But obviously, considering it's next gen, I'm actually really looking forward to it, as I am a fan of Red Dead Redemption. By the way, I'm rewinding these things so that you can have a look at Versetti's.
There you have it. So this is his room. Is the room where you start. By the way, you can buy. You remember this part? You can buy several apartments in the city. That's something I so love. Of this game.
Yeah.
But that's also possible in every GTA, I think. Even.
Yeah. This was the first one. This was the first one for several things. It was the first
GTA
one where
3, I think you were able to.
There it is.
Yeah, you're right.
See the poster there? It's the main character of GTA 3.
You are right.
It should be.
I mean, the thing is like that it tries to merge like life simulator as well with let's say action video games. So you can buy a flat. You can, I mean, in the latest GTA, of course, you can actually modify your character, and then you can drive, and then you can do things out of the missions. Okay, this thing was nice, yes, but I didn't.
Think that aspect has been dialed down in GTA not Vice City, in GTA 5, because in GTA, I don't know about GTA 4, I haven't played GTA 4, but GTA San Andreas, you had to eat, and you could work out, and depending on what you do, your character will look like that. Honestly, for what I'm concerned, I never cared about that kind of stuff. Like even in Red Dead Redemption, I ended up not eating and then becoming super skinny. I don't have time to waste on that. I just
for me,
play.
too much.
Yeah.
I agree.
But
I agree on that. I remember in GTA San Andreas, thinking, I think I went only once to the gym. And when I did, I stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I had a moment of revelation. I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Like, working out with a character and not in reality, like in real life.
Yeah. And there you have it, you guys and girls. I hope you have a chill Sunday afternoon, or morning, or evening, depending on where you are. As usual, happy gaming.